All right, we're continuing now on page 13. The next step to get closer to God. May Hashem help us really understand the words of Rabbi Chaim Vital and get closer to Him by bringing Him down in our life. So he says like that. Let us go back and explain the 4 elements of the character traits. So now we're going back to the character traits and explain the 4 elements corresponding to them. You should know that all the bad character traits have their roots in the evil side and in the klipot of the 4 stairs of the basic soul. Therefore, all the bad character traits are divided in 4 types. So, just want to make sure with the Hebrew if it fits well. כל המידות הרעות מושרשות בארבע מדרגות נפש היסודיס מצד הרע והקליפות אשר בה, ולכן כל המידות רעות נחלקות לארבע מינים. Okay, so there are 4 parts to the evil character traits, as we mentioned before, and they correspond to the Yud Kei Vav Kei, but the shell of it, the negative part of it, from so the foundation soul, the 4 negative part of the foundation soul. So and now we're going to explain what are those 4 elements, which we had mentioned before, but now it's really going into it, and this is the secret. If you don't want to be sick, you want to work on your character traits, this is the root of all the character traits. The root. So you want to know why you're like this, or why you're like that, or why you're moody, or why you're... This is the root. You want to fix it? This is it, my friends. So we start with element of fire. The element of fire is the highest, the most destructive. The element of fire is the lightest and highest element. It is the source of haughtiness, arrogance, which is called vulgarity. It includes anger, for a haughty man becomes angry when his wish is ignored. Basically, it is the ego. The ego in itself is not good. We need ego because we need to recognize who we are. Our self-consciousness ego is I am I, right? So God created ego to be able, but the problem to be able to be oneself and do one's mission when it's necessary. Meaning I have to know I affect the world. But the moment I start to be haughty about it, arrogant about it, then this is terrible. And it leads to anger. For a humble man knows his faults. For a haughty man becomes angry when his wish is ignored. Why you are angry? Because I asked something and it didn't happen. How can you do this to me? You have to listen right away to me. So that's wrong, because that means you expect everything to happen according to you. And that's not how the world works. Everything works according to Hashem, not you. So you have to learn how to react to things, but anger is the wrong way to react. You have to try to understand why things happen like that. You have to become a psychologue of why people are not listening to you. You have to become a therapist to why people are not listening to you. For a humble man knows his faults and does not get angry. Therefore, we can conclude that haughtiness and anger are the same character traits. Each time you are angry, each time you have anger, is because you are arrogant. Because I am arrogant. That's why I will get angry. If you're humble, you will not get angry. Remember that. Remember how many times we get angry, how many times we get upset. We're upset at God. Why did you do this to me? Oh, you say, why did you do this to me? Well, God is in charge, and God knows every little thing. God is the greatest therapist of the world, and everything that happens has a very deep reason. There's nothing done without good. Oh, but I see, you have your own reasoning. We think we know better than God. Great. So that's arrogant. When you think you know better than God, then you get angry, then you're arrogant. Now, yes, there's pain, there's suffering, and we don't understand. Yeah, thank God we don't understand, otherwise you'll be God. If you think you can understand God, you're already thing. Some people say that I don't understand. It's, well, yeah, things you have to strive to understand, but you think to understand God all the time? That's ridiculous. That's thinking you're greater than God, or as great as God. So you have to be extremely humble. This character trait is the origin of all the 3 traits. So he's saying one of them 4 root of all evil character traits is fire, and it's anger and arrogance. And from it comes 3 bad traits. Or an ill-tempered mind, which is the outcome of holiness as anger. The desire for power and honor. And the hate toward a person who is more elevated than he is. Okay? So, that's all those 3 comes from the element of fire and anger. So you have to work. So we want to fix that. Then you have to work on being humble. Number 2, the element of wind. We were fire, we go back down to wind. A little bit easier. But wind is the source of all idle talk. Oh, by the way, remember, fire, anger. What happens when you're angry? You get fiery. You become hot. You destroy everything. Fire is like, right, destructive. So that every element corresponds to its trait, obviously. The element of wind. Wind is the lungs, goes through your mouth. This is the idle talk. A talk about worthless things to the spirit and to the goof. You're speaking about nonsense, for no reason. Why do you speak to people just to speak? Yes, some people, they need to speak. But why do you need to speak? It says in Pirkei Avot, I think at the beginning of the 3rd chapter, the first of the 3rd is I grew up with rabbis, and the greatest thing I learned is to be silent. The more silent you are, the more holy you're going to be, the more your words are going to have power, and the more you'll be able to fix your element of wind. It is the source of 4 bad character traits. And that's why meditation is so important. Meditation has to do a lot with breathing. And when we meditate, we have to be silent or just do sounds. But yes, you have to talk things that are necessary. When you talk, say, why am I talking? You have to know why you're talking. You're talking just to talk. It's nonsense. You have to talk with a purpose. Your prayer will have more power if you guard your words. The more the less you speak, the more the energy of wind, your power of prayer, your words will have an impact in the world. It's in Kabbalah, it's a big thing. If we speak about nonsense, it doesn't have even to be evil. Nonsense. You're wasting energy, and it goes out, and that energy weakens. Your wind weakens, and therefore your prayer are not as powerful. So it is the source of 4 bad character traits: flattery, lies, slander, and boasting. So you can go in details about what each one is, but it all has to do with speech and all that type of speech, lashon hara, rechilut, all those stuff is so unnecessary speech is very destructive, especially when it becomes very negative. Okay, then we have the 3rd element of water. The water is the source of lust and enjoyment of physical pleasures. For water is the source of all types of delights. So water is something very unstable. Why water is pleasure? When you put something in water, the whole water, there are waves, there are ripples, right? The whole thing is affected. When you start feeling something, have a desire for something, your whole body ripples. Your whole soul, you want it all. I see something and your whole body. So it's the same as water. It takes the shape of the thing. You see the cake, you feel the cake, you taste the cake already. You see a woman, you see a man, you see whatever you see, the element of water activates, and it transforms itself into the thing itself, so to speak. So it's the source of all pleasure. It is the source of two bad character traits. That, by the way, that's one of the reasons when we go to the mikveh before having to purify ourselves from sexual impurity, which is the strongest physical pleasure. So because the water is what's gonna clean all these. When there's a very strong pleasure physically, so there's a physical. We're in danger of physical impurity, so to speak, because it's so physical. That's the moments when we feel the most physical. So then it comes with a bit of a consequence, and to be pure and to clean it, so we use the element of water, which is connected to those pleasures, physical pleasures. So the desire to steal also has to do with emotions, because that's the level of water correspond to emotions. So the two bad character traits that come out of the water is the desire to steal, the poverty, and the wife of a friend, and take pleasure in them. And so that's the first one. And the envy of a friend who possesses great property and the desire to take pleasure in it. Those are part of the 10 Commandments. So you desire to have the pleasure of your friend. That friend has pleasure, I want the same pleasure. The envy, desire to steal, and envy. Okay, so stealing and all that stuff comes from that. So we have a lot of work to do, and work of element of water, especially in our generation, with pornography and all the even the eating and then the rich and the poor. Rich and poor has always been, but in our generation, especially, we have the greatest pleasure we ever had in history. Live on the highest level. So the element of water needs to be really worked on a lot. Later, it's going to explain what to do for each one, how to fix each one. Then we have the number 4. The element of earth is the source of sadness and all its particulars. So sadness and earth. Why sadness and earth? Because sadness, what happens when you're sad? You're heavy. You can't move. You don't want to do anything. Earth is the heaviest of all 4 elements. If you realize this earth is heavy, then this water, a bit less heavy, wind, and then fire. This is from heavier to lighter. Coincidence that is the order? No, I don't think so. So again, everything is parallel connected. It's amazing. So it's earth and sadness. When you're sad and depressed, you want to die. You want to go back to the earth. You want to be buried, basically. So it is the origin of one bad character trait: idleness. The idleness to observe the Torah and the mitzvot, meaning laziness. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to serve God. It is the sadness of a man who is not satisfied with what he has and always wants more. The sadness that is caused by the worthless possession of this world. So he explains deeper what the sadness comes from. First of all, if you don't do Torah mitzvot, meaning you don't fulfill your mission, you're going to be sad. But he's saying more than that who is happy, which is the opposite of sadness, who is sameach bechelko. You're happy. Everything I have everything I need. I have my body and my soul, and I breathe. A little bit of food. That's it. I don't need anything else. Oh, everything extra is more. It's a celebration. I have 2 pair of shoes. Celebration. I have more than a little piece of bread and water. Let's celebrate. I have more than. But the problem is that we get so used to things, and then I need more, because I'm not satisfied with what I have. Technically, you can be happy just with having nothing. The only thing you need is God. Just me and God. The first man had nothing. He was naked. Him and God. The relationship. If you love someone, you don't care about anything. If you're crazy in love with God, you don't care about anything. You just want to be with, you want just to hug your loved one. So that's it with Hashem. That should satisfy you. The sadness that is caused by the worthless possession of this world. So So we have things and we think, if I have that, I'll be happy. And at the end, we feel empty because it doesn't. Because at the end, the only thing that really makes us happy is that love connection. We all want that love connection, especially with Hashem, but with other human beings too. That's where we have to. It's parallels. So we saw the 4. So now he's going to explain how to fix each 4. We learned that all the bad character traits derive from 4 traits. He's reviewing envy, which includes anger, idle talk, the enjoyment of physical pleasure, and sadness. Okay, no, it's wrong. The translation was wrong. So, נמצא כי אבות כל המידות הרעות הם 4. Therefore, גאווה, arrogance, והכעס, right? הנכלל מזדבק עמה, והשיחה בטלה, empty speech, ותאוות תענוגים, the desire for pleasure, והעציבות, והעיצבון, and sadness. וארבעתה נמשכות מ4 קליפות יצר הרע, and the 4 are drawn from the 4 קליפות, the 4 shells of the יצר הרע, שבנפש היסודית, which is in the foundation soul. והפכם, and what's the opposite? הם 4 מידות טובות, the 4 good character traits. So what are the 4 good character traits which are going to fix those 4 bad character traits? The first good character trait is humility, which is the source of humbleness. For the humble keeps away from anger, which is derived from holiness. Okay, so you want to fight anger? Humble. You don't want to be angry? Become humble. Read the Messiah Yeshaya in the Path of the Just to fix all that. It's the only way. One of the only ways. Just the Messiah Yeshaya is just incredible to fix that. Number 2, the second good trait is Hashtika. So the second corresponding to air is silence. Ilem lo yiftach piv. Don't open your mouth. Only levad be'esek b'hatorah u'mitzvot. Only open it to be involved in something worthy, to be involved in Torah and mitzvot and commandments. You're learning Torah, speak. You're speaking about Torah, speak. You want to share something about Torah, something good for the world, something good for the other, to help your friend. Don't speak nonsense. O be'echrechi l'kiyum haguf, or for the necessities of doing for your body to be healthy. Uletzorech kvod abriot, and in order to give honor to creation, the creation. They didn't even translate that part. Right? Kvod abrios, for the necessity of the honoring creation, for the good of creation. Number 3, is והמיאוס בכל תענוגי הגוף ומוסריו המוכרחים. He's saying that you should have a distaste, how you translate here? You should have the laugh of any unneeded extra physical pleasure. Anything that is unnecessary. Like, you understand the pleasures of this world. Your soul, you're going to speak to God one day, you're going to be in the world to come. All those pleasures are nothing. So you have to laugh at those pleasures. Why do I need those pleasures? I can get something much higher. This is a physical pleasure. I can have emotional, intellectual, spiritual pleasure, much beyond. There are 5 levels of pleasure. Physical pleasure, emotional pleasure, intellectual pleasure, spiritual pleasure, and God. Most people fall for the physical pleasure. It's like showing one candy and say there are many more candies. They say you can choose this candy, but if you want to go to the next candy, you have to walk 10 miles. So The kids say, no, I just want this candy. I don't want to walk 10 miles. Do you understand that here the candies are going to be much more tasty? And therefore, you have physical, emotional, and the more you go, the greater it is. But most people, they fall for the physical pleasure instead of thinking of going to higher levels of pleasure. So that's the channel of the pleasure. So you have to laugh at it. That's not really important. Focus on the important pleasure. What's the ultimate pleasure? Learning Torah, being close to God, meditating, doing mitzvot. And number 4, v'asimcha, the joy, happiness, hatdiris bechelko. To be happy in your portion. The fourth good trait is happiness. Happiness that is derived from the satisfaction with what one has, and from serving God, as it is written, I rejoice at your word like one who finds great spoil. That's it. You want to be really happy? You want to know how to be happy and not be sad? You have to, I'm going to do a prayer. I get to speak to the creator of the world, master of the universe. Everything comes from him. This is mind-boggling, just that we're able to do that. You should be happy to get whatever God. I got a book here. I got that from God. It exists here now because God made it happen that I can have a book now. The fact that I can think and speak to you and use a phone, all that, it's amazing. So the fact that you know you're serving God and doing something good, that's why the true joy. I'm a servant of God. There's no greater joy than that. I'm a son of God. I'm a piece of God in me. That's it. I don't need anything else. I'm the happiest guy in the world. I'm special. You are special. That's what I always tell people. You want to be happy, you have to read how special you are. Yeah? Because Rav Nachman of Breslov says, it says on my Facebook page, the day you were born is the day that God decided that the world cannot exist without you. The world cannot exist without you. Do you understand that? Yeah, after you die, it doesn't need you for a certain time. But the time we are here, the world needs you. God needs you. You have it here for something. So if you can't be happy about that, it's difficult. It means you don't really believe it. You have to believe it. You are all superheroes. We are all superheroes and all have a special mission, and it's all from God. There's nothing greater. And as our sages of blessed memory said in Ilchot, the laws of Talmud Torah, make my Torah your first priority and your work secondary. The main thing is to make my Torah first. Yeah, I have to work, but I need Torah. Torah is I live for Torah. The Torah is my life. My Torah is my relation with God. Don't think of Torah just laws. The Torah is living with God. My work, I need to make a living so I can live with God. But I live with God even when I make a living. But that's my primary thing. That's my main thing. So learn Torah, live your Torah, and if you make work secondary, then you'll be happy, because work goes ups and downs. Sometimes you work, sometimes you're out of a job, sometimes you don't like your work. But if you're happy inside already, because you're serving God, you're with God, then it doesn't matter. Not as much. We learn that the bad character traits prevent one from observing the Torah and the mitzvot. And even if he observes them, it will not be for the glory of God. You understand how crazy that is? That means that if you have bad character traits, you don't work on your character traits. You're a bad person, you're bad-tempered, you're like negative. Then your mitzvot and your Torah that you learn, you can be so religious. God doesn't want it. It's not for the glory of God. Even if he observes them. Scary. Very scary. We have to look ourselves. I'm religious? Wait. Let me see if really I'm religious and it's good for God. If that's what God wants. Because maybe I'm religious, but God don't want it. Why? My character traits. Okay, let me see if I have good character traits. Then you can ask if you can think that God is happy with what you do. And I'm speaking to myself. How much are we working on character traits? Very little. Or you might think about it, but actually working on it, taking notes. This week I did that. How can I change that? I really have to work on that. It's you have to think of that all the time. I'm brainwashing myself to be constantly character traits, because it's so hard to. This is the hardest thing. The Yetzer Hara doesn't want you to focus on your character traits. He just wants you to be be religious. Yes, I love religious people. Just do it. Just be Nike in being religious. No. That's then you're gonna trap the Yetzer Hara. You want meet those character traits all the time. Work on yourself. Read books. Read Mesilat Yesharim, The Path of the Just. There are more books, but it's always scary. And as it says, does it say? So listen to that. It says in the Proverbs regarding what I just said, like a gold ring in a swine's snout, nose, for he still carries the impurity inside the klipot. So it's like you have a pig with a gold ring. Oh, you have a gold ring. Oh, the gold ring, beautiful. It's on the pig. You are a pig because you have bad character traits. So you come in front of God with the mitzvot, which are the gold ring. But really, what God sees is a little pig. You're not kosher. Very nice, your mitzvot. I don't care about your mitzvot. I care about your soul, your purity, your thoughts, your emotions, what you think. When you say I love you, you really mean it. When you pray, do you really mean it? Do you put your heart into it? When you speak to people, do you really love them? Are you really trying to help them? Or you're trying to find a scheme to get them, to get things out of them, to put them down? So we have really to be very careful, because you can be carrying still the impurity inside the klipot. So you have to be someone who dressed all white and he didn't take a shower. He's dirty inside. So you can be dressed all white, but you're dirty, you stink. I'm all white. I'm pure. I'm white. You stink. You can't come here. It's not. So it's a big problem. And as our sages of blessed memory said in Gemara Yoma, the Torah can be either an elixir of life or a deadly poison. So he is telling you, yeah, the Torah from Hashem, you can learn it and it can bring life and happiness and holiness, but it can destroy you and destroy the world. I use Torah, my religious thing, to become arrogant, to say, oh, I'm a religious, I'm very holy, I have a kippah, I speak to God every day, I do the tefillin, I'm very holy, very holy. Poison, you're gonna die for being religious. You're gonna die for being religious, because you're religious for the wrong reason. You're religious to be arrogant. You're religious because I feel good about myself when I'm religious. You show off. And people, what people are gonna think of me? They're gonna pray like that, I shake like crazy. That's poison, dangerous poison. So we have to be very careful, guys. I don't know if you realize this is the gold words. This is the beginning of Kabbalah. We're not even achieved Kabbalah. It's telling you why people are sick in the world. Why religious people are sick. A religious person should not be sick, because you're only religious if you have good character traits. So, right? The exceptions, but I'm saying in a general rule. So, Torah, your religiousness, your mitzvot, your Torah can be poison for you. So be careful. Be careful. You want to be really religious? Be careful with your character traits. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's the only way to get it in. You want to be Kabbalist, you want to be holy, you want to understand the Torah, even just understand it. We take the Chumash, the Torah itself, and we learn it, and we try with our brain to understand those things. You know how it works? only if you have pure intention. Only if you learn because you want to be close to God, to love God, to make the world a better place. And only then you say, I understand what that means. Otherwise, you'll never understand, because you have the shell around your mind. The good things are not going to come in. That's why it's so important to learn from a Torah scholar, a rabbi, who has clean mind, who has good character traits, who works on himself. Otherwise, you're in danger zone. He's going to teach you poison instead of teaching you life. And when one fights his Yetzer Hara and removes his bad character traits and observes the Torah and the mitzvot, he's called a complete tzaddik. So what's a complete tzaddik? Tzaddik Gamur. If you have removed your bad character traits and you have good character traits now, and then you on top of that you have Torah and mitzvot, then you're a real tzaddik. You're a complete tzaddik, a God-fearing. How it says in Hebrew. Ikare tzaddik gamur, yirei shamayim, someone who is a true God-fearing person. Gibor hakovesh es yitzro, a strong person who someone who is strong, who is someone, a powerful man, a strong man, someone who controls his desires, his yetzer. V'chasher yiznaheg beyorgal yoter bazeh, and as he gets used, he lives, becomes consistent and becomes better at it, ad asher yusru me'alav kol midos haraos legamre, until he destroys completely the bad character traits. So that's how he should constantly going velo tis'ave lahem nafsho klal, and his soul has absolutely no desire for anything bad at all. Veiknei hamidos hatovos, and he acquires the good character traits, bekinyan beteva, and he will not need to fight the Yetzer Hara any longer, right? He achieved the good part, and that's it. He doesn't need to even to fight the Yetzer Hara. Ki gufo nafsho hayesodis, because his soul, his body itself and his soul will be the foundation, a clean foundation. They will be cleansed from any dross. That's how I will translate. As it is written in Exodus, put off your shoes from your feet. So when Hashem asked Moshe Rabbeinu to take off his shoes off his feet, it means is remove completely any evil from you, from yourself. It means your body and soul are completely clean. It's like you remove the shoe, it's like you remove the shell that prevents you from connecting directly to Hashem. That's really what the meaning, according to Kabbalah, of removing your shoes from your feet. When Moshe Rabbeinu was at Mount Sinai, God told him, remove your shoes. So it meant remove anything that negative, any bad character traits, any klipot, any shell that prevents you from just wanting to be with me. As it is written in the book of Tikkunim, of correction, then he will wear the 4 letters of the name of Hashem and become the holy throne in God's Merkava. Moreover, this man is called the lover of God, a complete and perfect chassid. So we're speaking here on the high level. We say that there was a tzaddik who is working on himself. Then there's a tzaddik gamur who is able to remove, to have his character traits and his mitzvot all filled with good. And then you have the chassid, which is someone who has completely used himself to remove any bad. He's not even connected anymore to bad. He has no desire for bad. He becomes the love of God. That's speaking, Abraham was the love of God. Abraham was chesed. He was a chassid. That's the level that Abraham had achieved. He had removed completely any desire to do anything evil, anything negative. So that's the level that Abraham has achieved. Again, he was 75 years old when he spoke to God. People forget about it. Avraham Avinu was 75 years old. So for us, it takes a lifetime, more than 75 years old technically. Hopefully not. We come after a few times, we fix more and more. But you understand that it's a whole lifetime. But Avraham at 75, or at least 99, I don't remember when he was called a lover, but it was after 75 years old for sure. And there he became a chassid, a pious. And that's the end of the part of the second gate. Next time we learn the third gate. Very exciting. Can't wait. We saw beautiful things. And remember, try to find a system to work on your character traits. You want to be holy, you want to be close to God, you want to be in love with God, you want to love people, you want to be connected, you want to be in harmony, you want to be one. You work on your character traits. You want to be holy, you want to understand the Torah. It's all there. Work on your character traits. Work on your character traits. That's the only solution. Be'ezrat Hashem, with God's help, we shall all be successful in working on character traits and become good people. And this way we'll be able to be also good religious people. I always say that there's three levels. There's the animal, the human being, and the Jew. So what does that mean? That there's the animal. We all have we are from levels of responsibility. An animal doesn't have any responsibility. He's responsible for himself and doesn't. They don't even go destroy the world, but they only risk for yourself, and it's a selfish thing. It's animalistic just to survive. So every human being have to go from Jew and non-Jew have to go from animal to human being, to Noachite, to be healthy. So we all have to not be selfish and be givers in the world and be good in the harmony world. That's everyone. Then there's a choice for those who want to go beyond that, or those who want to just be good human beings, and as we say, we're still working on your character traits and be good and keep the harmony in the world. Then if you want a greater responsibility, then you can be Jewish and transform the world on a more spiritual level, on a more intense level. But what happens if you skip the step, you're an animal. You're born an animal, but from the moment you're born, you just want things for yourself, selfishness. If you go from here and you don't go to first be a human being, which is working on character traits, if you can be a Noachite before becoming a practicing Jew, then you become a Jewish animal, like the pig with a nose ring. So you're religious, you're a Jew, but you're an animal Jew. And that's where you see sometimes Jewish animals. Religious, they look with a beard and they look very holy with a hat, whatever. And they're Jewish animals because they never became human first. They went straight from animal to Jew. So may we all be able to be human beings first, good people first, and then we'll be able to, for those who want the responsibility, to also be Orthodox Jews and change the world and bring holiness into the world and bring Moshiach. Be'ezrat Hashem soon. Amen. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen v'amen.